Now, those people are essentially the kind of people you will find in Yaba markets, or you find in Alaba market. All those guys that will say, hey, Sister Nkechi, Ngozi, Esther, what do you want to buy? Is it shoe? I has it. It's not shoe. It's not shoe. Is it attachments? I has it. Hello and welcome. My name is Buddy Kenneth, but you can call me Ken. And I am just one of the many IELTS experts here at Prep Class. So today I'm going to be talking to you about the speaking test. Yeah, I know, right? Speaking test again. What do they want to say about the speaking test again? Okay, so but this is what I want you to understand about it. I'm looking at misconceptions Nigerians have towards the speaking test. Now, people who are encountering the speaking test for the first time tend to have some notions and some orientations about it that are absolutely wrong. Okay, so the IELTS speaking test means many things to many people. But there are certain things that the IELTS speaking test isn't. Number one, the IELTS speaking test is not a job interview. I say this again. The IELTS speaking test is not a job interview. It is not a placement interview. It is not a promotion interview. So please, please, and please, your village people are not involved. Right? Now, having to think that the IELTS speaking test is a job interview affects you in so many ways, but in one crucial way particularly, it tells on your confidence. Some people get scared or afraid when they have to go to write that test, or not really sit for this test, because they think, it's a job interview, it's a decision-making interview, it's a decider, it can determine where I will be, what I will do, it will determine my entire future, and they get worried and all of that. If you don't have confidence, you can't do well in this test. I believe that many Nigerians speak great English. In fact, a lot of Nigerians I know speak very good English. Now that I'm saying that, I'm beginning to rethink what I have just said, because not too long ago, a sitting senator pronounced the word chaos as chaos. So let's just say that it's safe to say that a good number of Nigerians speak very good English. However, you would expect them to get about, say, a band 8, 8.5, or even a band 9 in the speaking test, but they don't do that. You see them getting a band 7, 7.5, sometimes even 6.0. And you wonder, when you see the person speak, you wonder to yourself, how did you get a 6.5? How did you get a 7.0? You find out it's some very, very little flimsy things, like this misconception that it's a job interview, or it's a promotional interview, or it's a placement interview. It is not. It is simply an informal test, a conversational test between yourself and an examiner. You guys are going there to have a conversation in English. That's what the test is about. Simple and short. There's no big deal to it. There's no, how about I put it, abracadabra to it. It's as simple as that. It's just as simple as that. So how can this affect you? I'm just going to give you a classic example of what I'm trying to say. So some people, because they think it's a job interview, they worry about everything. They worry about every minute detail, every big detail, every small detail, every kind of detail. They think about it and say, oh, when I get to the venue and I have to open the door, how do I open the door? Do I open with my right hand? No, do I open with my left hand? Should I lean in with my head? Or should I just lean in with my foot? What if I lean in with my foot and they see that my shoe is not Gucci, or it's not Prada, or it's not Paul Smith? It's a bend down select shoe that I bought at Agege. No. I think I should lean in with my head. But what if I lean in with my head and they think that I am very, very disrespectful, like I'm trying to spy in on them? You know what? I'll just walk in and walk in like a gentleman. What if I walk in and I see them and I'm going to greet them, or it's just one person, I have to greet the person? How do I greet the person? Should I bow? Should I genuflect? Should I even dobale just to greet the person? What if they tell me to take a seat? How do I take a seat? Do I just sit regularly like a normal human being? Or do I cross my leg? What if I cross my leg and they think I'm too proud? What if they think I'm too proud and they don't give me the results that I want? I need to. So you see all of these things begin to play in your mind, and you begin to ask yourself that, yeah. And all of a sudden, your confidence is being chipped at little by little, little by little, it's being attacked. And once your confidence level is broken, a lot of things can go wrong. Please listen to me. Hear he, hear he. The IELTS speaking test is an informal test. You are going there to have a conversation in English. Half the time, or basically for the most part of your day, you communicate in English. You should not have a problem having a conversation in English. Now, just to allay whatever fears that you have, let's look at the 4 yardsticks they consider when they are going to grade you. Especially as you walk into that test, there are just 4 yardsticks they consider. And what are these 4 yardsticks? I'm sure you've heard about it. You've seen so many YouTube videos talk about it. But I'm going to talk about these 4 yardsticks as it relates to Nigerians. And these 4 yardsticks are: 1, pronunciation; 2, lexical resource; 3, fluency; and 4, grammatical range and accuracy. I know some of you have heard about this yardstick before. So in a class, I had a class one particular time. I met my students and I was like, okay, haven't seen these 4 yardsticks. Which of these yardsticks do you think that Nigerians do not do well in, right? You need to have seen their responses. Some were quick to say, ha! In fact, we will not do well in pronunciation. Nigerians and pronunciation. Hey! But the pata of them all is grammatical range and accuracy. Anytime you hear grammar like this and you see a Nigerian, the thing that comes to your mind is no. Essentially, because they think that when you say grammatical range and accuracy, there's no way you can construct sentences in a way that it will be free of grammatical errors. Well, let me bust your bubble of knowledge. All right, so research I did, and research have shown over time that where we actually get low scores in is not really with grammatical range and accuracy, and it's not also really with pronunciation, interestingly. Where we get our low scores in as Nigerian candidates who try to take the test is in fluency. That's where we have the problem. And you ask myself, how come fluency? Well, if you're wondering why you have problems with fluency, I think you should blame it on this phrase, as in. Many Nigerians, when you watch a playback of their interview, what you hear is as in, and so, and then in many of the things that they say. And when you listen to it, you'll be like, don't you have any other connector? What's up with as in? And you'll be surprised that some even go out of their way to introduce what we call the Nigerian mannerism or the Nigerian expression into what they are saying, especially things like your head did there. Things like that, and you don't even know that they've crossed the pidgin, since it's supposed to be a test in English. I am not exaggerating. It does happen, especially when you get excited when you're speaking in the test. I'm not saying that it is absolutely wrong to move into informal expressions. I'm just saying that it is not a safe thing to do, even if it's an informal test. Now, what's the problem with fluency? With fluency, particularly, is a confidence issue, right? You are expected to deliver a set of ideas as fluently as you can, using right kind of connectors to join your sentences together, your compound sentences together, your complex sentences together, all in a bid to express your message, to communicate your message with the person you're talking to, or to the person you're talking to, right? Or the person with whom you're speaking with. Right? This is essentially what you're doing with the language. But we fail at that horribly because, number one, we are a bit jittery, we are a bit anxious. You see, anxiety has taken over what we are trying to do, and we are trying so much to be perfect. Some people even go out of their way just because they want to be perfect. They totally switch into what they like to call, in this part of the world, phone. And you'll be wondering, it's not even close to good enough accent, but they switch their accents, and the examiner is confused, wondering that I just saw your name, it's a Nigerian name, why are you giving me British accents? And the person still goes on to speak in British accents, and when there's a few exclamation, you hear things like ye or chai, and you'll be wondering, how did you move from the British accent to chai in a space of just 1 minute? These are things you see, and they all look at it and they always make notes about it because they know that this person is not being as natural as he should be. Now, please take note of that word natural. In the speaking test, they expect you to express yourself as naturally as you can. If you're not natural, it will affect you. Now that I've mentioned that fluency is the problem, I know some of you are wondering, but pronunciation, everyone has said that Nigerians do not pronounce words very well. A lot of people have said that Nigerians don't know how to use grammar very well and all of that. But you'll be shocked that the person who is examining you is aware that, number one, aware first that you're Nigerian, or if you're not Nigerian, West African, understands the context in which you pronounce words, and might even understand certain things that you'll be saying out of your mouth. That is not to say they wouldn't still grade you for pronunciation, because there are some words that we pronounce and it has a totally different meaning. I'm hoping to eventually do a video on these yardsticks, breaking them down very, very clearly so that, yes, so that we can know exactly what to avoid and what pitfalls to avoid when doing the speaking test. But I'm just going to probably dab on it a bit in this video, talk about little things we should avoid. With pronunciation, for instance, one of the things you should try to understand is accent is not your problem. You can speak with your own accent, it is fine. It's pronouncing the word that is the problem. I'm sure you're looking at me and wondering, what's the difference between pronouncing the word and accent? Well, it's simple. When you try to pronounce a word and it carries a different meaning than you intend, then you are pronouncing it wrongly. Let me give you a scenario. So a lady goes to a seminar, a very seminar she's been talking about, wanting to attend. She goes to the seminar like 2 weeks ago, and now she's talking about the seminar. She's saying, oh, the seminar was lovely. I learned a lot. If I wasn't Nigerian and I didn't know what she was trying to say, I would be confused. I learned a lot. Just because I wanted to prime one, I'm like, sorry, I'm confused. You learned a lot. And she's like, yeah, yes, I learned a lot of things there. And I said, sorry, I need to get clarity. Did you actually go to the seminar with money and you were loaning people money? You were loaning out money? And she was like, which one is loaning out money again? But you said you learned a lot. And she's saying, no, I mean learned now, learned. And then she says, when you are learning something, I'm like, oh, you mean learned. And she was like, learned, okay. Learned and learned is not the same thing. No, it's not the same thing. L-E-N-T and L-E-A-R-N-T are not the same pronunciation. When you pronounce it as the word L-E-A-R-N-T as learnt, it takes a totally different meaning. And please don't have me started with this little argument we've had over the word louts and touts. Yeah, people will say that, okay, it's a misspelling or it's a misunderstanding of the word, but I think the mistake, I know that the mistake from that word came first as a pronunciation problem, right? Maybe the first people who encountered the word, who tried to popularize the word, wanted to talk about tout in a certain way and decided to call loud tout and tout loud. So what am I saying essentially? That, let me put in a scenario so you can understand. An examiner is asking a candidate to talk about civil disobedience. By civil disobedience, I mean protest. And the candidate is happy because, well, there was a protest recently in Nigeria, as in Lagos, the Lekki protest. So he starts to talk about the Lekki protest and says, oh, there was a Lekki protest, it was an NSAS protest, this, that. He goes on, and the next thing he says that the protest was eventually intercepted by touts. And the touts invaded and messed everything up. They destroyed things and caused havoc, and it became a mess. So he's speaking to me and saying that touts messed everything up, and I'm like, sorry, I don't understand. How can touts do that? And he's like, touts now. And I'm like, sorry, what touts? And he's like, touts, you should know them, the ones they call agbero. And I'm like, oh, sir, you mean loud? He said, no, it's touts. I said, no, you mean loud. He says, no, it's touts. So this is the problem. L-O-U-T, loud, is different from T-O-U-T, tout. For those of us who already know about it, well done. For those of us who do not know this difference, please let us use this opportunity to learn the difference. So those guys you call agbero, that stay at the bus stop and cause a lot of havoc, those guys that literally don't have any job and they essentially just encourage and fan the flames of violence, those are called louts. L-O-U-T. They exist everywhere in the world. You will find them there. The other one that is T-O-U-T, tout, actually also exists everywhere in the world. Now, those people are essentially the kind of people you will find in Yaba markets, markets, or you find in Alaba market, all those guys that will say, hey, Sister Nkechi, Ngozi, Esther, what do you want to buy? Is it shoe? I has it. It's not shoe. It's not shoe. Is it attachment? I has it. Now, you see, those kind of people, they will follow you around to ensure that you buy something from them, and they can be sometimes downright aggressive. You would cross the road, they will cross to the other side with you. They'll follow you everywhere you go because they want you to buy something from them, right? Those ones are called touts. They are aggressively marketing their wares, whatever it is, whatever those wares are, to you, even though you are not interested in buying it. So that's the difference between a lout and a tout. So if you use it, it might be confused as a pronunciation problem. There's so many of them, and I said I could do this in a larger video to show you many things as Nigerians that we do not pronounce well, that when we do that, it automatically carries a different meaning when we do it. So that's for pronunciation. I've talked about fluency, and I said that fluency is your ability to express yourself very fluently without you having to use redundant words. When I mean redundant, I mean you use a word so much, repetitively, so much that it no longer holds the same value it should naturally have. We call such words redundant words. And your ability to use rich vein of connectors, tells us that you are fluent. So we've talked about pronunciation and fluency. Let's talk about lexical resource. Lexical resource is what some people would like to call a fancy name for vocabulary. Yeah, many of us are guilty of it. We should work to improve our vocabulary. We can't just be, I come and go, I go, I come. It's come, that I come, that I go, that I go. We need to be able to start elevating our language, elevating the words that we use. We need to start, if instead of saying environment all the time or society all the time, you can say milieu. I mean, you need to start learning more words and having more words in your vocabulary bank so that you can naturally use them when you have to. I am not saying that the test is in 2 days time and they say lexical resource, you need to be able to use rich vein of words. Then you go to dictionary and go and cram 200 words in the dictionary so that you can dish it out on the day of the interview. It will not come out naturally. You would only be shooting yourself in the foot. Please do not do that. I know many of you who may be having the idea that you're going to do that on that day and tell yourself, I'm the best actor. It's like a script. I just learned 200 words in the dictionary in 2 days and they go there and deliver it. It will be a beautiful performance. It will fail you. Please do not do that. For lexical resource, try to learn new words per time. And the best way to learn new words is to actually develop a reading habit. If you read all the time, if you read every week, you would always encounter new words and your vocabulary would just develop. It would just be better. Now, let's come to the grammatical range and accuracy, the last thing I'm going to talk about today. To be fair, grammatical range and accuracy for the speaking test is not the same as grammatical range and accuracy for the writing test. It doesn't carry the same weight, so to say, meaning it's not the same monster you're dealing with. I'll explain. Because it's an informal test, there are a lot of things that you will get away with when you use them in the speaking test. A lot of expressions that you will naturally get away with. But with the writing test, you will not get away with that expression, right? Let me give an instance for you. Let me give an instance. There's this statement we make here in Nigeria. It's very common. We say it all the time. What's that statement again? Imagine you were expecting something from someone and you expected it to be huge. As that's the word, that's the prayer. Expect it to be huge. The person eventually gives you money and you find out that it's not as huge as you would want it. So what do you say? You say, no, I did not believe that the money will be that small. That expression, I did not believe that the money will be that small, is an informal expression. You cannot use it when you're writing. So by way of grammatical accuracy when you're writing, if you had written that as a sentence, you will be penalized for it in the writing test. But if you were to use that as a sentence in the speaking test, it will be fine because it's an informal test. I'm sure some of you are looking at me and saying, you English people have come again. What is wrong with, I do not think the money should be will be that small. Well, the problem here is the word that. That is a pronoun. What you're trying to use in the context is an adverb of degree. Adverb of degree, example of adverb of degree will be so. So you can say, I did not believe that the money will be so small. I did not believe that that house will be so small. I did not believe that that thing will be so small. But that's the best way to put it. But when you say that small, you just reduce that expression to an informal expression, something you would say when you're speaking, because words that you speak with aren't essentially words that you write with. So it doesn't have the same thing. So in case you're wondering, grammatical accuracy for the speaking test, don't get unnecessarily worked up about it, right? You can do well in the speaking test. I mean, really, literally very well. I have a thing I tell all my students. I literally forbid them to have anything less than an 8 band. They have to have 8.0, 8.5, or 9.0. They can't have less than an 8.0. An 8 band is the target for anybody that's come under my tutelage. They have to do an 8.0 in the speaking test. And it has always been that way. Because it's very simple. Speaking test is, in my own opinion, the easiest of the 4 tests in the IELTS system, right? It's a thing that you can study, basically the test format, the yardstick format for grading, and all of the tenets and strategies that we will definitely teach you, and get your clear 8 band. It's not the writing and the reading test where you and I know that to pass the writing and the reading test, you've got to do some real work to pass that kind of test. So if you're getting a 7.0 and you're happy that you've gotten a 7.0 in the speaking test, I really don't think you should. I think you probably didn't live up to the potential that you had, and you'll be surprised that it could be just little. Now, don't get me wrong. I've told you something today about certain mannerisms. I'm not saying that they grade you for them or they grade you downwards for these mannerisms. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that these mannerisms we show or we use have a way of affecting our all-round test negatively. And if we understand this, it is better. Now I'm going to end and finalize with this story. I had a candidate, his name, William. I like William because apart from the fact that he's an intelligent chap, he also has this, what Nigerians would like to call the I cannot come and kill myself, I cannot come and die philosophy. Meaning he was very carefree about a lot of things, right? He would come to class early and sometimes really late. And if he has to come to class and he's tired and he has to take a nap, he will take a nap because he didn't kill Jesus. So, of course, right? He needs to take a nap, he will take a nap. He had this scenario where his speaking test was moved. He was supposed to have his speaking test on a Wednesday morning, and they told him he was going to have it on a Friday morning. He sent them a mail saying that Friday morning won't be good. What about Friday afternoon? They said Friday morning at 9 was the best time for him to have his test. Now, what he was essentially telling them is he wasn't a morning person. He doesn't like waking up early and all of that. William, being William, had something up his sleeve, meaning his test center, his test venue for the speaking test was not very far away from his house. In fact, it was I think under a mile, like how do I put it? What do you call this thing? What do you call that thing again? You say a stone throw. That's the statement we use here, or the idiom we use here. It was essentially a stone throw from his house. So what he did was he knew he was going to wake up late, so he set an alarm. When the alarm went off, he got there, and when they saw him, he said they were all shocked to see him. Why? Because he went to his speaking test with a t-shirt, a short, and flip-flops.
What?
He was unkempt. He hadn't had his bath. The only thing he did was brush his teeth, and he was almost certain that he went there with his toothbrush, just in case. Yeah, and this was how he went for his speaking test. Did they care? No, they didn't. They had the speaking test. He did his speaking test. He had an 8.5, and he went his way. He didn't have to dress to impress or to dress to kill. He didn't have to worry about how he was going to work there. He didn't have to worry that somebody will look at him and say, "Oh, Omale, stupid child. He came here dressed like that and he wants to pass this test. Don't worry. Come and pass the test. Let us see him come and pass the test." These guys wouldn't do that. So if you have the impression that this is how it's going to be, they wouldn't do that, right? No one's going to do that to you. So please, the IELTS speaking test is a test you can pass. You can pass and pass well. That's what I actually mean. So if you are sitting somewhere, anywhere, wherever you are in Nigeria, and you're worried that, oh, the speaking test, I'm not the talking type. What if they ask me? I don't just do well in interviews. It is not an interview. It's just a conversation. So do not worry. It is at this point I will be coming I will be bringing this class to a close, or bringing this video to a close. I hope you enjoyed the video. If there's anything you want me to talk about the IELTS test that you might find confusing, do let me know in the comment section. If you really like this video, please, you know what to do. Click the like button, make a comment. Just tell me what you think about the video generally. If you have a negative comment, please put it there. If you have a positive comment, please put it there. Yes, but truly, if you have a negative comment and you want to put it there, and you are looking at your conscience and you still want to put it there, don't worry, we'll meet in the comment section. Just put a negative comment there. You see what I will do. However, this is where I just call it a close. See you in another video. I might as well do a series. I don't know. It depends. If you want me to do a series as to many of the Nigerian misconceptions we have when it comes to the other 3 tests, that is reading, because yes, we do have Nigerian misconceptions that affect the way we attack or respond to the reading test, the writing test, and as well the listening test, particularly the listening test. You can just let me know. Tell me you want to see that video. Me do a series on the Nigerian reason. I rather say the reason why Nigerians don't do as well in this test because of our Nigerianness. If you want to see that kind of video, do let me know. At this point, I say bye-bye, adios, sayonara, ciao.